Good afternoon and welcome. It's Wednesday afternoon, just about 4:30, and hopefully we'll have some good reception for the internet so that I can talk to you about a few things and show you a few things as well. Let's just take that down there. That's better. Oh, that's lovely. I can see some people coming on already. It's been quite a cold day and I am sitting in here in the cold conservatory, but I have a heater at my feet so that I can feel a little bit warm, so that I can feel my feet and my fingers. This is the thing. Afternoon, Dorothy. When your hands get cold, you can't really do much, can you? Hello, Pamela. Lovely to see you both and all of you that are watching today. Hello, Janet. You nearly called me. I am feeling much, much better. I must admit, Monday morning, hello, Lindsay, it was like a different world. I'd just been feeling so under the weather. Hello, Carol. Oh, good. That's lovely. So, yes, I'm sorry I didn't put anything on that post to say thank you for all your well wishes and your concerns about me. But hello, Tony. Sometimes I just think to myself, just slow down. Stop doing as much and rest a bit more, because for January, the beginning of the year, I can't be poorly. I haven't got time to be poorly. So, oh, hello, Gidget. Lovely to see you. I did sew all weekend, and in fact, I got 8 projects made. Hello, Linda. Thank you so much. I am indeed. So it was a case. Hello, Jill. I am feeling so much better, thank you. Have the odd little cough. I was eating an orange or a mandarin this afternoon, and yeah. Oh, hello, Anne. Start of a new sewing year. It is indeed. Well, I've got lots up my sleeve. Who was that? Missed that one. Oh, it's Jill. Hello, Jill. Yes. I might still, you know, it's dust in the air. I mean, considering before Christmas I was telling you how I was going to sort this out, tidy that up. I did minimally in a place to tidy. Hello, Deborah. But I got nothing done. And this looks even worse in here. The problem being, well, it's not a problem. When I'm getting ready for shows, it's I get everything out and I need it at hand. And then I need to keep it at hand for any orders that might come through. So I can just about get in here at the moment, which we've frozen. Oh, it was minimal, thank goodness. Yeah, it was a very quick one though, Lindsay. Don't worry. All is well, all is well. So, yes, unfortunately, yet again, they had to go off. They were supposed to go on Monday, but they didn't. So they went on Tuesday morning and have gone. But you may have seen pictures when I've just done a little Instagram post. Hello, Bev. Thank you. And hello, Sandy. Hope everybody else is well, just like Sandy says too. I just think there's so many little viruses, not the big one, going around. And I only said to Victoria this morning, I'm sure the boys bring them back to me because Oliver had a cold and runny nose. And it started that last week, and I'm sure he gives it to me because he loves me. So whatever Grandma gives to him, he gives to me too. Hello, Marion. Thank you. Yeah, can't afford to be ill. Haven't got the time to be poorly. But at least I was just not 100%, and just everything was just, oh. But never mind, we're all better. We're all better. Hopefully I'm building up all those antibodies for anything else that might come along. So I have, hello, Alison. Well, one thing I've done today with the help of Victoria is I've got all the paid parcels from Thrifty Thursday. They've all gone off to the post office. Wonderful. Now, what I was going to say about that, they've gone off, but as you're probably very well aware, I mean, I know parcels from previously are coming through. Hello, Pat. But there are still hold-ups in the system. I was reading a thread on Facebook earlier on where people sell on Etsy, say, or eBay, And hello Eileen, lovely to see you. And somebody was saying they ordered it or they paid for something on the 28th. Hello Nikki. And it hadn't come through yet. Should she ask for a refund? Well, I had a couple that had been posted on, I think it was about the 14th of December, and they didn't get there till the first week in January. So I just ask, you know, I mean, you're really all very, very good, but just be patient if it doesn't turn up. By all means, send me a little message to say it hasn't arrived yet, so that I know, because I do all my parcels on a drop and go basis through Royal Mail. And basically, although they're not tracked, so that you don't pay excessive postage, because it costs more to get it tracked, basically. So it goes normally second class. Some I do first class. If I think you have paid the £2.95 postage and it's only a small parcel, I put it on first class, so you get good value from your postage costs. But I can tell, hello Shirley, thank you. I can tell on the system whether it has been, it tells me it's been delivered. Oh, your material hasn't arrived yet. It's definitely gone, Anne, most definitely. I'll have a look. But further north is always where the problems arise, because there are so many people off isolating and they're still catching up from Christmas, and gosh, your Christmas Day order arrived this week. You see, and they went out very, very timely, but I'm sorry we can't actually rely on the normal 2 to 3 days postage or delivery. Hello Tracy. And you know, a lot of people were saying just be, because obviously we had a lot of bank holidays, didn't we, as well? So the working days, it's all just gone awry. Some people get them a couple of days, as it should be. Hello Sue. But a lot, there are delays. And I don't mind if you tell me at all that it's not there yet, so that I can just do a little check. But you're still waiting 3 deliveries. Yes, I know. So I did have a couple where it wasn't such a nice response to, or an inquiry to me. It hasn't come. If it's not here, I'd like a refund. And so I just thought, okay. But I said, I'll put another one in the post tomorrow. Yeah, you see, Jill, 8th of December that arrived today. As it happened, I think that must have been on the Monday. Bank holiday was on the Tuesday as well. And I said, I'll take it to the post office tomorrow. And then I thought, it won't be open on the bank holiday Tuesday. I'll take it the next day. When in actual fact, it is, they are short-staffed, most definitely. I didn't get there the next day. And then the lady told me that it had arrived. So I hadn't actually put it in the post, thank God. Hello, Mary. But it is just a case, I'm afraid of being patient. But I've had a couple of quite rude and not very nice, and it does upset me. And I think about it, and I think about it. And then I respond very nicely, as you do. But it hurts, you know. So just making you aware that if it's not like it usually was in the 2 to 3 days, and they have gone today, all those that have paid, there's only Anita, I don't know, I think she's probably at work at the moment, but she needed something extra. It's all packed and ready to go. So any others will be posted when they're paid in the next couple of days. So I thought I would just say about those, because you know, it's hard for people that sell when it, hello Julie, you know, when it doesn't arrive, and if they want it for Christmas. I know. Oh, I had another moan from somebody. I'm sure she doesn't watch, but I know. Telling me, and this hurt more than anything, she had bought a couple of PDFs off from the website, and wanted me to forward the patterns to her because they weren't there. and I didn't know which particular designs they were, and she specifically wanted patterns. So when I got to know them, or in the very first instance, she said she wanted patterns. There were no patterns. Please forward them or refund. Just like that. When I've seen the instructions, I can download these for free off the internet, which I took umbrage to. No, I know they are, Nikki, but it was just the tone of this one, and I just thought, do you know what? And when I saw they weren't, I did respond and say, my designs are unique, and if there are any designs out there that are the same as mine, then they've probably copied me, because and the particular items, there's no way that they were a copy of anything else, as in me copying, because I don't. I make up my own bits and pieces, and neither of them needed patterns. And as I did say as well, I do call them instruction packs, because in the early days, when I called them patterns, people expected a physical pattern, like a dressmaking pattern. Now, you all know, if the shape of the bag is not on a, I know, Lindsay, I know, if it's not a straight line, then I put a template in. Thank you, Janet. And, you know, if it's a curve or a shaped top or bottom to the bag, there is a pattern. These did not need any at all. So it all ended well. And I did say, I said, I'm very generous in my business, as many people will say, but with instruction packs, I do not offer a return on them, because the design had already been downloaded. And I don't get that many. I used to get a few from the craft store, because and I took umbrage to that, because anybody could just photocopy them and they've got a design and then send it back and get their money back. But hey ho, one lives and learns, doesn't one? But as I say, that's probably one of the two that had just, oh, hello Joanna. Don't worry, I've only just started. I've done a little bit of moaning, but anyhow, oh, I've got some other things down here to say which you'll like. But the big news, yes. Oh, I missed what Jan said then. What did Jan say? Stick it where the sun don't shine. Yes. Well, I mean, she downloaded them. I know. I didn't even know the name, to be honest, but yeah. And I'm not rude. I'm just not. And I treat people as I would expect to be treated. And I mean, there was another one as well that said they didn't get a pattern with their pack of something. Hello, Christine. And I thought, yes, you did. Now, if somebody says to me, I bought such and such a pattern within a kit or whatever, I have inadvertently mislaid it. I don't know what I've done with it. I can't find it. Do you know what I do? I'll send them a PDF. Absolutely fine. Thank you, Janet. No problem at all. But when people turn it on, you've made a mistake. It wasn't there. And I think, yes, it was. Yes, it was. That's when I think, no. I mean, I always do the right thing. But it just, ooh, there we go. That is all the moaning I'm going to do. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Thank you. You're so kind. I just think karma, basically, karma. You treat people how you would like to be treated. And the big thing, be kind, because it costs nothing. And it just, that's why we have such a wonderful, wonderful group here, because everybody is lovely. And yes, Joanna, people are so cheeky. Or, you see, you're being very pleasant there. They're downright rude sometimes. And that's a very nice way of saying it, isn't it? People are so I know. And there are people that try it on too. But there we go. There we go. So, anyhow, I've been thinking. Now, what did I think? I know. I thought, basically, because there's a bit of a change in timings of... I'm not going to change things drastically. I'd like to know... Oh, yeah, I mean, I do make mistakes like that. Yeah, yep, that's right. So, but when it was with a toolkit, I know it was there. I know for a fact it was there. Things like you said, Tracy, that's probably because Martin didn't put it in the packet, and I know that. So, you know, absolutely fine, and I don't mind at all. And if you don't have the facility to print from the PDF, I'll send you the printed format. It's not a problem at all. But yes, there's ways, aren't there, of asking politely and nicely, and you get more that way. I tell you, you absolutely do. Yeah, I know, Liz. I know, Liz. Yep. Yes, so because our little Charlie is going to be 3 very soon, he will be going to nursery. Yeah, do you know, Karen, I don't forget. It stays up here. It stays up there. Yes. I know, oh, from a long while back now, somebody said they hadn't had something, and I sent out another one, and then what happened then? Yes, then the very afternoon, you ride shotgun with that very afternoon she told me it had been delivered, and I know I posted another one, but that person never told me that they'd received 2. So there you go. But that name's up here, don't worry. I'm a bit forgetful, but there's certain things I don't forget. I'm an elephant underneath all of this, but even to look at, you probably think that too. But there we go, there we go. So getting back to, Charlie will be going to nursery, so the timings are only just slightly different. So what I thought I would do, Trisha Times will be on a Wednesday and a Friday at 4:30, so exactly the same. It's just the Thursdays that will change slightly. So the Thursdays I shall do at 6:30, and I'm going to I'll do alternate weeks of a Thrifty Thursday, and what was I alternating it with? Oh, and a demo. Yes. So I do a demo one week, a Thrifty Thursday the next, a demo Thrifty Thursday, and in between that we will also have the mug rug swap, make to swap. So that will be at 6:30 on a Thursday evening. So it only just changed, and it's only because I shall have Charlie on that afternoon as well, whereas the others it will be fine. Hello, Sue. Sue says hello to everybody. So not much difference, and like I did today, and when I think about it, I will. Hello, Josie. Happy New Year to you, and hello, Jackie. Oh, lots of you here today. I will sort of try and let you know. Lindsay's very good, and she asked me if I can do it. So when I have time, when I haven't got all orders packing away, and I got those done because I had help really well today. So yes, so that's how it will be. We have a saying, Karen says, in our family, that you can have a chance to poop on us, but they don't get it. No, that's a good one. That, yes. Jan's brain has crashed today, has it? Oh, no. Nikki made your January swap. Oh, must send mine out too. Thank you, Nikki. I'm usually one of the last, so... Oh, you won't know if you're expecting it. Or did I? No. No. I haven't sent it yet. And I was thinking I know the person. Well, of course I do, because I know you all, don't I? That's a bit silly, but there we go. And, oh yes, that's right. So, as from, not this Friday, I'm going to do another mystery quilt. I know my design. I haven't worked out measurements for you yet, but I thought I will start the mystery quilt, not this Friday or the next, probably 2 weeks on Friday. So not the next, because we're nearly Friday now, aren't we? We're Wednesday today. So not this Friday, the following Friday, possibly I'll have orders from the show on Sunday. So it'll be the one after. So I think a lot of you said you were up for another mystery quilt. Yes, yes. And this one is only going to need, oh, it doesn't matter, Jane, no problem. You've got plenty of time. You've got until the 25th, today's the 12th, so there's nearly two weeks to get it made and in the post. How about that? Oh, yes, I saw Barbara. That looked absolutely beautiful. Or Maxine fancies one too. We'll perhaps have to have I'll give it a few more weeks. I haven't even finished mine off yet. And we'll perhaps have another little show of all of our mystery quilts. Mystery quilts. But yes, Barbara, absolutely beautiful. There's quite a few I've seen that have posted, but I'll have a... I've had a better finish the last one, yes. Yes, we will do that. Oh, good. Yes, Joanna, I will. Which is why, so 2 weeks on Friday, I'm going to work out my measurements because I don't want it to be massive. I mean, all of these ones, if you scale up the squares, you can always make it bigger. Or the one we did, you could make 4 of them and put them side by side in like a 4-patch to make it bigger if you wanted it bed size. So similarly with this one, but I will do it probably similar size. I can't think how many. Yeah, perhaps 24 inches square, something like that. Oh, you felt poorly, Irene. Well, yes, as long as it's good that you're feeling better now. It's not nice not being up to doing what you normally want to do. So Friday's the mystery quilt. Oh, I put that new mystery quilt. And oh, the last thing I was going to say. Oh, one of your aims, Tracy, is to make a quilt. It's the cutting out confuses you. Well, oh, that was, yeah. No, that's the other thing I'm going to do. That is the other thing. I don't know how I'm going to work it yet. Yours was on the craft store yesterday morning. You did. Oh, lovely, Maxine. Well done. Oh, I didn't see that. What show was that on? I'll have to watch it on Rewind. Yeah. Oh, let me know, and I'll have a little look. Oh, yes, the duckling fabric. I haven't really done a load with the duckling fabric. It is lovely. It really is lovely. Oh, I did the quilt. 9 AM. Okay, I will have a look. Yeah, so the other thing I'm going to do, and I don't know what sort of format, I'm going to do, not a mini quilt, I'm going to do miniature, right? So they will be small, so they will be working with smaller sized pieces. Oh, good, that's lovely, Diane. Yeah, I mean, everybody can always watch it back later, but it is nice when you're live with me because, you know, I can chat to you as we go. So, yes, I've already drawn up. Oh, thank you, Heather. I've already drawn up. I did that the other evening when I thought, I can't just sit here doing nothing. I didn't feel 100%, but I laid on the floor in front of the laid on the carpet in front of the fire, and I started drawing up. I've done 8. What I'm hoping to do is to do 12, so that we could have one a month, and it gives you plenty of time, and then that could be made into a quilt as well. I just thought of, you know me, I want to be a bit different. And oh, Jill's in from work, lovely. So many people are doing a block of the month. Do you think any more? Yeah, the subscriptions, yes. And getting silly about that. Oh, don't worry, Jane. I mean, I do look at my emails during the evening because I do, especially in this weather, when it's summertime or when it's bright, lighter nights, I carry on sewing, I carry on working, and I'm probably working till 9 o'clock in the evening because I do. But these darker nights, the lighting's not as good as it could be, you know, the daylight, so as good as daylight. So do you know what? I sit down with my iPad and I do all those things which I don't want to do in the daytime particularly. I mean, I do answer emails during the daytime as well, but I do bits and pieces in the evening, so it's not a problem at all. As long as you don't ask me to go out to the little shop shed, because I'm not opening up to go out in the cold in my PJs and my dressing gown. I mean, nobody can see me, but on the other hand, Oh no, don't worry, Jane, don't worry at all, at all. Yeah, so that was miniature quilt. So miniature quilts. So I hope, it's just not everybody likes to work with little bits, but these will be quite nice, quite nice. So I've got to work out yet how it's going to work. But subscription boxes, yes, I really have got to get round to that. It's in my mind all the time, and yes, I will. Yes, I most definitely will. I've got fabrics. There's definitely illustrations is one of them. Boudoir is another, where I've got the whole ranges. I've still got some cranberries and cream, and I can see some lovely things with those. So bear with me, and it will happen. It will happen. Sometimes I think, right, I'm going to do this on a regular, this on a regular, this on a regular, but I keep taking all my time up, and then I don't have time to do all the things I have to do for the craft store. Speaking of which, you've all heard the news, haven't you? The craft store have bought out Create and Craft. So I'm really quite excited. I mean, I don't know. Oh, Mary's catching alive. Well done. Yes, yes. With the cranberries and cream, I've got more of the creamier ones and the like pale mushroomy colour, but they are absolutely stunning. You know, because I did the Christmas deal of the day, didn't I, with some of it, but obviously I didn't use all of the fabric designs that I had. So yes, there's still room for doing a little bit more there. And considering, yes, changing, the craft store. I'll just say though, in between, well done to the ladies, Wendy, for guessing the correct number of bolts in my room, in my dining room, aka, or sewing room, aka dining room, was, one day it might be, but who knows. And the two that got the most votes on the Your Favourite Maker of 2021, which was Eileen, lovely Eileen, and Chris. And thank you, you've both given me your addresses. As I put in the little post that when I find. So when I come across them, I will get them out to you. Obviously, I have only got one set of the, hello Christine. Yeah, don't worry, it's nice to see you. Yes, I have got one of those, so one of you, and I'm sure I know who won't mind at all, we'll have to have, because I haven't got any more of them. Yeah, Nikki, I haven't asked for a cup of tea today because I had a coffee. You've been offered an industrial machine. Wonderful, Jill. Do you know what? If anybody's I have an industrial machine to sell. It is wonderful. It's an old brother, but I just haven't got room, and I haven't used it in a year, 18 months. But it is wonderful. I loved it. So they do take up a bit of room. That's the only thing. But the sewing is excellent, and you will get used to a knee lift. But they are just wonderful. And if you're making bags, even I used it for patchwork as well. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. Anyhow, yes, the craft store. So I think it's quite exciting times, really. There's been a lot to read about on Facebook, and all I would say is you just need to be patient. I don't know any more than you do. They did, in a very timely manner, send me an email informing me about it all, and you know, as far as I'm aware, as the official threads posts have stated, everything will carry on as normal. A lot of people are asking, or telling them they ought to inform what they're doing, and they should have said in advance that what they were going to do. But it is just one of those things. Everything will be, I think it will be really good. Everybody will work together. And hello, Yvonne. But just be patient. Yeah, that's right, Barbara. it will be a while before it filters through, but I'm sure they will treat. I know the owner of, or the owners of the craft store, and they are the most wonderful. Paul Wright is the most genuine, lovely chap I've met. He, I think I told you before, the last time I saw it, it was over a year ago, but he came up to me and he said thank you to me for being a supplier, you know, on the craft store. And I said, hang on, I said, no, thank you for having me. But such a genuine gentleman. So I can't see him when there was a lot of kerfuffle some time ago, probably 18 months ago. He was the perfect gentleman. So no, he will do everything in a very professional way, and will keep, you know, the organisation of it all as minimally disruptive as he possibly can. Yeah, a few kind words do go a long way. And I think I get a little bit annoyed when people who don't know anything about how it all works say this is what happens or that happened. And I just want to say, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. So, yeah, we will wait and see. But I'm sure everybody will be fine, and it will all be for the good. It will be all for the good of all of you lovely crafters, stitchers, paper crafters, everybody. And I'm sure it will all work out wonderfully. So don't worry about it. Just carry on in the same way. If you buy through the craft store or you buy through Create and Craft, carry on doing that. Watch both. I'm sure where, you know, if some people prefer one, let's say, transmission to the other. Well, when they come together, perhaps you'll get the perfect transmission, the in-betweeny, because they'll look at all of that. It's not rocket science. And, you know, they'll just see where one can do better and take on, you know, another's strengths and the weaknesses and mix them together. Yeah, I think, Lindsay, I'm the one that should be uneasy, but I'm not. All will be well. I always say, don't worry about something which might happen, because it might not. Why waste your time worrying and then everything's fine? So you've spent that time feeling anxious, and you know, if you suffer from anxiety, it's not good for you. So just try and let it ride. Just breathe, relax, and I'm sure, I always say, you can panic when it happens. When it happens, you deal with what's happening. But don't worry about what might happen, because it might not. Perhaps that's just me being the laid-back person that I am. But as I say, I don't feel customers will be affected at all. It will just carry on. There might be minimal changes along the way, but you know, sometimes we have to go with change. Martin doesn't like change. Martin doesn't like if I put one chair in a different position to the one it's been in for 10 years. But I like to switch things around myself. But there we go. Hello, Linda. Oh, you're in Exeter. Lovely. Have a lovely time down there. Looking at the sea is just a wonderful thing, I'm sure. I haven't been to the seaside for a long time. Well, no, I did in October, didn't I? That was a long time ago. But, yes, so that was, yeah. So everybody just bear with. It will all turn out well, and don't worry about what might or might not happen. That's my ethos in life, to, you know, just remain calm and don't worry. Martin worries. Martin worries about something all the time, and thinking on the worst. Sometimes you do have to think of worst case scenario, but don't think about it, because it might not even get there. Okay, so today I was going to do something else, and then, oh, Sue's been on the beach today. Yeah, the sun has been shining here. Oh, you're going to Cornwall for a funeral. That's not so nice, Linda, is it? But hope all goes well. I'm sure it will. but try and take the positivity of Seaside along with the funeral. But it is a celebration of a life, so all good wishes to you there. Yes, so I was going to do, but I will do this on Friday now, because tomorrow, yes, Nikki, me too, tomorrow I will be doing the mug rug swap, make to swap. Trisha doesn't know what it's going to be like yet, but I've got tomorrow morning and we will get it done, and it will be at 6:30 in the make to sew, make to swap group. Now, in previous times I haven't been able to see comments, but not a problem, because it will come through eventually. But I'll just keep talking and I'll know you're there, even though I can't see you there, but I'll know you are. And then we'll save it so that you can all see it at whatever time you want to. But I've got to think of what it's going to be like first of all. So no big deal. Anyhow, on Friday, I'm going to be doing, which I got prepared, and then at 4:10 I thought, I know what I'm going to do, because somebody asked me if I could do Quilt As You Go and how you join it together. And I thought, yes, of course I can. And then it completely, this was last week, completely skipped my mind, but I've quickly hushed it together. So on Friday I will do 3 ways of doing half square triangles, or yeah, they're 3 different ways. But so how you make, for those that have never made a half square triangle at all, we'll do what a lot of you know how to do, and usually what the mystery quilts use a lot of, the half square triangle, which is a very, very useful block. Then how to make 4 at a time, and then how to make 8 at a time. How about that? Just to give your technique repertoire a boost, so it just broadens your horizons. Whatever you're doing, you know, you can choose different ways of doing it. So, Quilt As You Go. Quilt As You Go basically is making, well, let's say normally when we make, sorry Lindsay, I was just saying about what I am going to do on Friday. I was going to do today, but changed my mind at 4:10. So today I am doing Quilt As You Go and how you join them together. And on Friday I'm going to show you how to do 3 different ways of half square triangles. So when you make 2 at a time, 4 at a time, or 8 at a time. Okay. So, yes. When you're normally making a quilt, whether it be a wall hanging or a bed-size quilt, or even a placemat, we would make our top piece, we'll do our patchwork. When that's all put together, we put wadding behind it, no problem, wadding behind it, and then we put the backing fabric underneath, and then we quilt it. So you could quilt in the free motion style, where you drop your feed dogs on your sewing machine and you just go for it in whatever patterns you like all over the quilt. Or you might do straight line stitching with a walking foot on. You might do diagonal. Only on a Thursday, Sue. Only on a Thursday. So Wednesdays and Fridays will be 4:30, just the same as it is now, due to childcare arrangements. Where was I? Yes, so that is how you normally do it. So if we do Quilt As You Go, we are actually quilting the project at the same time as making the patchwork itself. So we will have, what we'll be sewing with is the backing fabric, which I have here. So I've chosen a nice straightforward block to do. It isn't a what would I say? It's not a churn dash or an Ohio star or a log cabin, anything like that. You could do some of those. It's just going to be strippy, but this is going to be Quilt As You Go. Can we use your tool for the half square triangles? You can indeed. You can use that if you're using a 4-inch square, because I haven't done the one for the Tenchi tool yet. So yeah, it depends the size, Eileen, of your squares that you're going to start with. If it's anything 4 inches or less, absolutely do, yeah. But if it's bigger, you'll just have to use a ruler of any sort for that diagonal. So what I've done already, I haven't put any, but I've got my backing fabric facing out, down, with the right side facing down. So there's my backing fabric. I've got the wadding on the top of it, and now I'm going to do my patchwork on the top. So we're not doing it all separately, I'm doing it at the same time. So if I just pop this down here, I'm just going to move this down so that you can see. Oh, there we are, not too bad. So I've just got a random size square. I wonder if that helps there. Oh, this heater's lovely and warm. I've got my random, I've actually got my mat for, no, I want it that way, that's better. This mat is a rotating mat. I got this out, can you see, for when I do Fridays. So I have some of these, they're not on the website, but I've got 5 of these left, but I'll show you how wonderful they are. And there, oh, we're back. Jolly good, jolly good. Such a nice, Facebook is so nice when it decides to free. Well, it's not Facebook, I suppose. Yeah, I'm back now, Joanna. Okay, so that's it. You're all getting me back for good or bad. So what I'm going to do, so that we can, I'm making a large block, and I'm going to cut it into 4 so that I can then join it together to show you how, that's lovely, Nikki, yeah, to show you how we join it. So I'm going to start by just popping, oh, this was around, I'm popping a strip of fabric. It can be any width at all. I'm using 1.5 inch width, so that, I think that's my 1.5 as well. Let me just check. I cut these and I've got some other ones as well. 1.5, that's right. So you could use varying widths of fabric to stitch across here. And if you've done the strippy mug rugs, you'll know exactly what we do. So all I'm going to do, oh, I've got a selvage there, but never mind. I have got my first one right side facing up, and then I'm going to put my next piece right side down. So although it's plain, you can't really tell, but right side down onto my fabric. I'm just going to put a pin just to hold that together, and then I'm going to stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to move this again, so let's hope it doesn't do it. 1/4 inch seam allowance, let's move that together there, along the edge, joining the 2. So now 1/4 inch seam allowance it's not crucial, but if you do a bigger seam allowance, it just means you'll take more strips to cover. Oh, I don't like that to glare. There we are. Oh, never mind, Tracy, being yelled at. Oh dear, oh dear. So because I'm stitching through wadding, I am also going to just use the normal default setting of 2.5 for my stitch length, because we're going through 2 layers of fabric, 3 layers actually, and some wadding. So I'm just going to stitch down, take that pin out, all the way down, and it doesn't matter if the strips go over the edge. Actually, perhaps what I'll do, if I move that a little bit further away, move that in there, and then I'm going to open out, and I'm just going to finger press as I go, but you could press if you wanted to. So having opened that out, I'm going to take my next strip, and I'm just doing the bog standard. I'm just going to alternate the same fabric, the same 2 fabrics, just to make it nice and easy and quick. And I haven't used any particular, I think the piece of fabric square I used is 7.5 inches. It was a piece of fabric I'd got there, so I thought we'll just use that, and I made it square. So there we are. This can look really nice if you, oh, that's my bigger ones there. If you, these are all offcuts at the side. If you use varying widths, and also if you use lots of different colours, so it's a nice scruffy one. But as you can see, I've got my wadding and I've got my backing fabric, so we are quilting because quilting is purely the fact that you are stitching through your 3 layers, your backing fabric, your wadding, and your topper or your patchwork piece. And that's what, when you're quilting, you're doing. You're holding the 3 lots together by quilting. So again, flip that out, finger press down there, grab yourself another piece of fabric. Don't throw any of these pieces away that are too long, because if you make more than one of these blocks, some of them will fit. That reminds me, I'm going to tease you now. Whoops, I've got another ruler in mind for making a beautiful block, but what I'm wanting is to I want to use it, so I'm going for my next alternate. I want it to have many uses. Is that one too? Let's just have a look. No, that's right, that is one of those. So you can see the strips are far too long, but it doesn't matter because we are going to trim them off. So just sit down here. And I don't know what these strips are going to cover. I think we shall need one more. Yes, we will need one more. So one more bit. What I could do actually is cut this end off because it's far too long. And then I will put that piece right side down and onto the last piece. And then we're going to cover the other side as well, because what we're aiming to do is to cover totally, that little bit won't matter just there, the whole of our wadding. So I've got this other side to do, so just flip it around. So it's easier to start in the middle and work our way to those corners to get the, you'll then get the centre, or I didn't even look really properly, but you can have your strip in the centre and be able to cover it, rather than, you could start at one point, one corner, and work your way from corner to corner. But I quite often, when I'm doing this, I will work from the middle to a corner, and then from the other, from the middle to the opposite corner. So, as I say, we just keep taking these strips of fabric, nice and easy. You can see how it's coming along. Now the reason, you'll see the pattern that this will create when I cut in a moment. And this is why I've done them diagonally as opposed to straight. You could just do strips if you wanted to, that went straight across from edge to edge as opposed to corner to corner, because this is going to give us a diagonal, which seems fairly obvious really, but it's just going to give us a diagonal effect. And then when we do a little bit of cutting, you'll see what we're able to do. So finger press that. I think we'll have about 2 more to do. Well, no, we'd have 3 more to do. So again, right sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance, align those raw edges, and each time, apart from the first time, you're putting the fabric right sides together. So because I'm just using white, you can't really see. I'm just going to get one of these ends here because this will be enough as well. The white really doesn't have a right and a wrong side that matters, but if you've got a pattern, then make sure it's right sides together. So we're now going to be on that very last one, just to cover that little bit there. So snip that bit off, right sides together, and you don't actually get any problems with it because it's going over the edge. It's not giving you a problem of making sure when you flip it out, it needs to cover the wadding. All of them will be. So as you can see, that's given me, well, I'll show you the square first. So we'll fold that over. I'm not going to press it as such, but But what I'm going to do now, there is my, you can see that is all quilted. So we've done our quilting. If you want to do a little bit more, you can. So all I'm going to do now is get my ruler, and as you know, I don't usually like to sit down to cut, but I have got a decent blade in here. So we'll just trim that away. One of the things I like to do before I cover the blade is just flick the fabric away, just so you know that's all being cut off. Now with this mat, you see what I can do, if there was space, I can just swivel that round so that now I can line my ruler with that edge and again trim that off. Now you know how sometimes you haven't cut, if you keep your blade open and just flick those bits away, then cover your blade, you can tell that you've cut them all. Otherwise you cover your blade, then you think, oh, the fabric's not cut away, and you have to pick it up again, and that's it, let's put that there. And then, oh, it's gone off a little bit square. Let me just, I think the wadding moved a little bit. Oh, that is, oh, it was a 9.5. Oh, was it? I'll have to square this up a bit. Oh no, that was my other bits, wasn't it? Oh, so that was 10 inches there. And now, oh, it's 10 inches to there, that's all right. So my wadding was the right size. It's just the fabric shifted a little bit. So again, that's it, cover the blade. So I'm just checking that that is still 10 inches about. Okay, and then just turn that around and then line that up, and again trim that off, flick your excess bits away, and now this will look so different. So you have your patchwork there, which is quilted, and you can see, because I haven't pressed it, it's quite nice and fluffy, if you like. It undulates. Okay, so what we need to do now, so this is a 10-inch square. I'm going to cut it into 4 squares. So, whoops, let's just see, I'll just turn it down a little bit more. So I know, I'm just going to check that we are, oops, that's it, the ruler, that's it. For 10-10, that's not bad. And that's still, because you want it to be, that's it, minimally. So I'm going to cut 5 inches this way. Now this is where a rotating mat helps, because you don't have to move. When we cut, we're going to do 1 cut vertically and 1 cut horizontally. And if we move the patchwork, then you've got to line it back up again to get your accurate squares. So I am just lining that up. So that is, and then I'm going to cut through all those layers. Now carefully lift off your ruler, and then you can swivel this around so that you can now cut the other way, so vertically then horizontally, so that we're going to have, I'm just lining that up carefully, so we're going to have 4 pieces. So I've cut those. Now you can see they come apart, so you have got, oh, that one isn't quite, didn't cut that very well, there we are. Okay, so now we have 4 individual pieces. Now if we move this round and move that, no, that's it, we're going to, so that, let's have, or we could have concentric circles, couldn't we? Not concentric. Let's have them like, and that will have the little one. Or we could have the big ones in the middle. Let's have the big ones in the middle. Okay. They're not quite, there we are. So, no, that's not, that's because that's gone further that way. Okay, so now we have got little, so those should, so they do white, or we'll have all the whites in the middle. Let's have all the whites in the middle. And that's not a white. Yeah, it's because of the number of stripes. If I'd done an even number, I could have had, because some of them, these are the whites at the corners, so we're going to have 2 little triangles in the middle, and yeah, so it's basically going around like so. Now, how do we join them? As you can see, you've got a lot of bulk. Well, not a lot, but you have got bulk. So with your normal patchwork, if you just sewn the strips together, you would then put right sides together, and you would get that as your seam allowance. Now that is too much for a seam allowance. So what we need this to be nice and flush. We don't want the bulk of 2 layers of wadding and 1, 2, 4 of fabric. 2 of fabric, plus where your seam allowances are, you've got another 2. So it's just too much, and you'll get bulky ridges. So this is what we do. So first of all, I have cut them already. You want strips. We're going to have a border or sashing going in between and in between. So I've chosen white to be in between, and it's just like putting borders on all of your blocks. And what you need is 1 inch wide strips for one, and the other one you need 1 3/4. So there, so you've got 1 inch strips and 1 3/4. Now with the 1 3/4, let's see, I'll need 2 of these. With the widest strip, we want to fold that in half. 1, 2, that is going to be enough. So I'm just going to get my mat, and let's just turn on. So I didn't do those to begin with. So as you can see, this was cut near the selvage, edge, but it doesn't matter because we're going to fold it in half and it's going to be hidden. So all I'm going to do is put, and this would be wrong sides together. So you'd have the pattern fabric on the outside here. So it's just folded in half along the length, and I'm just going to carefully line, and you want to line that up along those edges perfectly. So 1 3/4 inches. Okay, and just press that nicely so that is beautifully flat. And then we'll do exactly the same with the other one. Let's start down here and put the iron and just press that. And I say those marks, those pinholes from the selvage are going to be hidden, so it's not a worry there. Okay, turn that off. So we've got our 2 pieces that are folded, and what I'm going to do, now I'm going to leave those as they are. No, I only need 1 actually. I only need 1, I don't need 2. I need 2 of these pieces. So these are the 1 inch strips. Now the 1 inch strips need to be the same length, which was 5 inches, as the length of your, that's my scissors there. So 5 inches, the length of your block. And we're going to, for putting these 2 together, we just need 2 of them. So I'm just going to cut 2 of those. That's what we need. So we are going to join, just like we do blocks in a quilt. We're going to have 1 strip there to join those 2, and 1 strip here to join those 2. So let us begin. So what we're going to do first of all, we're going to take the top block, and we're going to put, this is going to be the top, so right sides together, and we're going to line up the 1 inch piece down this edge. Now it's good to use pins here, because we are not just stitching this one piece on. So where is my pin? There. So I'll put a pin at the bottom as well. So we're pinning that, and that's going to be right sides together. So if that had got a print, the print is under here, so it's right sides together. At the same time, actually I'll cut one of the, these, you want your folded pieces that are 5 inches long. So let me just cut 5 inches here. Whoops. 5 inches there. You can always trim that if... Right, so it has to be the same length as your... Oh, I did need 2 then. That was why I was having a mental block. So I've now got 2 pieces which are folded, which are, so they're folded there, same length as this one here. So I'll put that to the side. And then, so you've got the 1 inch on the top, and then at the back, we're going to put our folded piece. And the raw edge here is going together with the 1 inch piece. So I took the pin out and put that back in, and then I'll show you closer up. Pop that through all of them. So what you have, you've got the front, so you've got your 1 inch single strip there. You've then got your patchwork, and then at the back here, well, that doesn't allow you to see that very well, does it? Put the pin down there a bit. At the back here, you've got your folded piece. The fold is on this edge, the raw edge is here, along with the raw edge of the quilt and the raw edge of the white piece. So you've got all those in one. And what we're going to do is stitch down that edge with an accurate 1/4 inch seam, and it does matter on this occasion. So you line everything up, and you'll have a 1/4 inch seam. And again, stay on your 2.5 stitch length. Take that pin out. So just make sure these are lined up perfectly. And that's just slightly long there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so I've stitched down that edge all the way through there as well. Now, if I pop it back down here, so that you can see there. So back down here. Let's take that one, move that one out of the way a moment. So that down there. What we're going to do, this one is going to be joined to here. So if you fold that so you can see the right side, and then you're going to put that one on the top, right sides together, and then line up your block there. And just leave that. Don't worry about this folded piece here. That wants to stay out of the way. But all you're going to do is line up your block with your 1 inch strip. So let me just show you so you can see. So there is your 1 inch piece here. So we're leaving, and we are putting, open that out so that you can line up the other block that's going next to it. And those should line up. So move that down a little bit. That's there, that's it, that's fine. But I'm actually going to sew from this side, from the white, because it's easier to see where you're going. So line the edge here, right sides together onto there, and again we are doing the 1/4 inch, so a nice accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance, and with those edges aligned, what you'll find, your foot fits nicely, especially if you've got a 1/4 inch patchwork foot, it just fits nicely in there. So all I'm just going to trim, that's a little bit too long there. So what you have now, so I've joined it together. When we open that out, what you have here is that little border in the middle, and when you pull that apart, let's just put that down here. Can you see how those 1/4 inch seams there just butt up to each other? Let me show you there. So there they are, and they just butt up to each other. So you've got no extra bulk. That is all as if it were one continuous layer of wadding. But obviously you've got raw edges, and that's why we have, so let's just pull that out. So this is where we could take the iron, if we've got a little bit of heat, just iron that down, got a little bit of heat there, and then you can push your folded piece over the top there. So you've got no raw edge, and we'll do it here, and is covering those stitches. So when I folded that over there, don't know whether I can show you there, but it just covers that stitched line, and that just so if you stitch just along that edge, that will should stitch nicely into that seam. We'll have a look. So I'm just going to pull that apart so that lies nice and flat. And then again, if you want to pin, or the other thing you could do here, and I haven't got one, which is a really good idea, is to have a glue stick. Now I have, oh, perhaps I have got a glue stick. I've got my, I don't know if I've run this one out. Oh no, got a new one. So, glue stick. If you pop a bit of glue on here, so this doesn't affect your machine at all, and then you can push your folded piece down on the top, and then you won't need any pins. So just hold that down. That's kept that nicely in place. Just make sure that that is going over your stitches, and then that should be beautifully straight. And then if you want to, you can stitch from the top. So what I'm going to do now is stitch in the ditch along here, so along that seam, and that way, so it does take a little bit of watching where you're stitching. The stitching in the ditch is in your seam line, and what this should do, let's see, so I'm actually using cream thread. Let's just see, oh, I missed a bit there. Right, what that should do, if I'd got that nice and I haven't got that far enough over, but that's given a nice, now you can't see, I've stitched in that seam line, you can't see that. On this side, I hadn't got it totally, so it's really quite nice here because you can just see, and here, but I just needed to push it over a little bit more because I haven't caught that down. So I just go over that again. But we'll do the next one. So in exactly the same way. So we have got, let's just make sure, oh, I haven't got that the right way, right, so that way. So we've got those two. So again, we'll do it once more. You've got your 1-inch piece, and you're going to put that on the top. Right side down onto your right side of the patchwork. Then we're going to take our folded piece. So there is my fold, and there are my raw edges. The raw edges are going along with the raw edges behind. So pop that behind and just put your pin back in just to hold that together. And then a bit like when I'm doing a zip, I like to hold it separately so I can line it up. So we're lining the back piece, the folded piece, with that top piece. So I'll just take that over to the machine again. And again, as I say, accurate 1/4 inch. Whoops. And I've got that back piece on fine, and that top piece. So 1/4 inch here. Straight down. And cut. So leave your folded piece at the back as it is. It's just the top piece you need to open out. Open out like so. And then this piece is going right sides together, so on the top, lines up with your single 1-inch strip. Turn it over. I'm just going to hold that. So make sure the blocks are nicely lined up there. And then I'm going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam onto the white 1-inch strip. Whoops, there we go. Whoops, that's gone off a little bit. Let's just, my foot's walking. Right, let's just, so all I'm going to do is go back to where it just moved a little bit, like so, and carry on down. again, we can turn that over, pull that apart, and your seams meet. Your wadding is meeting each other there. So just make sure I just pull that a little bit. And then we'll get our glue pen again and put some glue down here. So this is just before where we're going to stitch. And then just make it easier. Just pull that over, and you want to make sure that this is going over where those stitch lines are, where my seam line is. I think I've moved that one better. Okay, so that's all in place now, and then I can stitch from the front in the ditch. So again, I am just going in that seam line. I do go a little bit slower in the seam line because just to make sure it's going in the right place. Now that is much better. Can you see I've got my stitching down there, so it's holding that down. Then I am going to do the same. So there is our block, all those the stripes going around. I'm going to do the same here with this one. Now what we do need here is to make sure, where is my 1 inch? Let's get my 1 inch strip. That's it. There we are. Here's my 1 inch strip. So we're going to do the same with this long one now. But so I'm going to do it extra long and then cut it off, because what I want to make sure, now that is a little bit, I'm just going to trim that. I've just stretched it a little bit there. Just move that there. Okay. So the very first one, we're absolutely fine. But what we want to do when we come to joining to this, I want to make sure that comes across in a continuous line. Oh, getting warm now. So I will put a pin to start off with here. And then I've got my second folded piece, which that is eluding me now. Let's just see. I did 2 pieces, didn't I? No, it's not that one. Oh, here we are. Here we are. So there's my folded piece. So again, folded piece behind. So I'm going to line that up. Oh no, I'll do that a little bit longer, and then I can just trim that off. So again, I've got my folded piece. The raw edges are lined, but the folded edge is on the inside. So take that to the machine. Make sure that's all perfectly aligned there. That looks like it's going in a different direction. So pop that down. Take the pin out as soon as you have got your needle and you started to sew the seam, because that will just hold it in place. So again, straight down, and then I'm just aligning that again and aligning the top piece, because the strip sizes are dependent upon a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so there I've got my stitch there. So what I will do now is I'm just going to trim that bit off there, because that is too long. Okay, so now we are going to, because we are putting these 2 pieces, this to this, so this time we're going to open the 1 inch piece out like so, and then we're going to flip this one on the top, and we're going to sew this seam under here. So flip it over, and we're going to sew down here. Now what we need to watch out for is, how is it easy to see? You can see here is our seam here. I want to make sure that this vertical seam is in line with this seam. So, oh, that's not too bad. I am looking at underneath here. I can see that seam there. I want that to be continuous. So it's going to go to there, but just turn it up and just make sure the seam that is coming from here, from this piece, is right on top there. And I would most definitely pin that point, because that way we're hopefully going to get a nice continuous seam. So we will just now take that back to the sewing machine, and again align that with the raw edge, and again a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And you might find, because I've got the standard foot on, you might find it's pushing, because you've got this seam here, it's pushing your foot away. So with a patchwork foot, because it's that little bit narrower, you'll be absolutely fine. And I found the patchwork foot just fits in there beautifully, in between the seam and where you're sewing. So there we are again. I've stitched down there. Now we can open that out so that comes together. So you can hardly see that, because that just joins together. And then, let's see, we're going to do exactly the same as we did with the short strips. And then hopefully, let's just have a look, we can see there. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to happen. I wanted that to be nice and continuous going across there. So just have a look at that before you stitch it together. And then, as I say, again, bit of fabric glue down on the piece which is going to be covered, so that this part, or you could actually do it on there if you wanted to. I'll do a little bit here. There we are. So we do it on there, and then that is the bit that's going to come over. And when you push that over, just make sure it's going over that stitch line there. And you want that to be nice and straight, because the straighter you get this part, the straighter your stitching will look on this particular strip. So again, don't really want to get your fingers on the glue, so I'll try and pull it away so that I can, that's it. So just, I'll turn it this way, because pulling it away from me is a little bit easier. And so it sticks really well, but you want to make sure that that is nice and straight. And then, as I say, when we stitch from the other side, you can stitch from this side if you want, which is the reverse, and that would be fine. Just have a peek there. Yeah, that's fine. So you could stitch from the other side, but what might happen is that you'll get some stitching showing going over some of that stitching as well. So I'm going to take that to the machine now, and as I say, like we did before, I'm just going to stitch in the ditch. Just make sure that you're going in the right ditch. There we go. And this way I'm looking quite closely. You can actually get a stitch in the ditch foot, and that has a little guide. There you see, I've seen I've stitched on some of that coloured fabric there. But let's have a look at the other side. Yeah, so that's caught all of that down. I don't know whether you can see that there, but that's caught all of that down nice and evenly. And then on the front here, you can't actually see, apart from down here, I've stitched onto that blue, but you can't see any of those others. So yes, it is a lovely technique. So the back, it just gives you borders, okay, and the front like so. So let's just come up into the real world now. Okay, so yeah, as simple as that. Just see if you can see. So you can't really see where I've stitched. Where have I? Oh, I have, look, because I did it in cream or ivory. Whoops, down here, that side. You can just see it, and that is why, by stitching from the front, then on the back, the only thing I can see here, I've got that pulled down a little bit more than that one, okay, and my stitching isn't, the stitching on this one, whoops, down here, is quite good, That's what you're looking for. And that's because, blooming amazing, says Tony. I got that nice and straight, whereas these two, I obviously didn't. And that's where I missed it. Whoops, this side. Can you see there? So I'd go back again there. So I didn't pull that down enough. But if you look at the stitching underneath and make sure when you pull that folded bit down, it covers evenly your row of stitching. But otherwise, so that is your quilt as you go. And you know, you've got no big quilt now to put under the, oh no, that's quickly frozen. What you could do is, if you like making blocks this size, you could do exactly the same again. So you would now cut 1-inch strips that are that length, and make another one and another one. And if you had, say, 4 of these across, you would eventually just put a long strip joining all 4 of them, like we did the centre one there. Oh no, it was that one there actually. You can see which one it is because it's continuous. But can you make the strips wider? Not really. You could make the strips wider, but what you'd have to do, because it's all based around that 1/4 inch, you would have a gap, wouldn't you? So if you stitch the 1-inch strip on, you would have a gap. What you could do though, with that gap, if you cut some other strips of wadding that is the width of the gap, you would lay that in the gap, and then also the folded piece here, you would have to make that bit wider so that when it came over, it covered that extra strip of wadding and your stitching. So what would I say? What you could do if you wanted 2-inch strips, so if you wanted 2-inch pieces of your sashing, I would cut 2.5-inch wide pieces of strips of fabric, so that would give you a 2-inch finished binding, or not binding, sashing. And then the folded piece, you would need, well no, you'd have to put wadding because there'd be a gap between the seams, and that would be 2 inches. So you need a 1.5-inch strip of wadding to sit in between those 2 pieces that we covered, but there would be a gap. So a 1.5-inch piece strip of wadding. Then your folded piece you would need to cut, because that would need to cut 2 1/4. What would it be? Probably 4 3/4, because you need to fold that in half, and that just gives you what, 2.5, just under 2.5, and then that would fold over your gap. No problem, Jill. So yes, it would just be a case of working out what size strips, but yes, it could be done. But so easy. So that could be what I tend to do with this. I put another couple of these, and it can be a table mat, can't it? A place setting, and you can just do your standard binding around the edge. I wouldn't use the mitre tool because we've done our backing fabric already. So simple as that. Simple as that. So I hope Bridget was watching. I just remembered who it was. It was Bridget that said, could I do this? So that's how you do your quilt as you go. Okay. So tomorrow evening, stick to original. Yeah. Yeah. You could, yes, it just needs a bit of working out for. So if you remember, it was an 1 wide strip for the one that's on the front, and then an 1 3/4 wide strip folded in half with wrong sides together. So you've got a folded edge and a raw edge, and it's the raw edges that come together around your quilted pieces. But if you remember that, oh, you're welcome, Lindsay. So tomorrow, 6:30. Oh, I haven't sent you fabric yet, Moya. I'll send those for you. But he's going to the post office tomorrow. Yeah, watch it from the beginning. And I think it's quite easy to follow because I did it like 3 times, and you'll get the gist of it. It's easier for you actually doing it when you're doing it. Oh, thank you, Sharon. When you're putting the bits together, listening to what I said, and then putting it together, it's like, yeah, this works. This works. Just remember those lining up the edges. And also when you come to do this intersection here, it is nice because sometimes you can get this straight bit and this one going off, and it was mesmerising, was it? I wish I had a bit. I don't know how it reflects on the. For me, it looks as though it's all reflective in the mouth of the machine, but I hope you can see okay. Oh, thank you, Eileen. Right, so yeah, so tomorrow at 6:30 in the Make to Swap group, and Friday at 4:30 here on the So Totally Trisha page, and I'll be doing your half square triangle variations 2, 4 and 8. So thank you so much for joining me today. Oh, 6 o'clock. What perfect timing. I'll go and have a cuppa now. Let me see, what else did I need? I won't need to remind you of it. No. I'm going to do Thrifty Thursday, not this week because it's Thursday tomorrow, the week after, and then the following Thursday will be another demo or whatever I was doing. Yeah, so it'll be 6:30s on Thursdays from next week. Yeah, so you'll see me tomorrow at 4:30 on here for the half square triangles. Thank you for joining me today. It's been lovely to have a chat with you all. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.